All right, all right, all right. Welcome. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. My name is 12 Gauge. If this is your first time to my channel, hope you find something that's interesting enough for you to keep coming back. If you're a returning sub, thank you for coming back. Thank you for believing in the information that is stated on here and how we present it, how the guests that I have on here on the panel give their insight and their knowledge. Um, Everything that's stated here is obviously my opinion, and the information is alleged until it's found out otherwise and made true. Without further ado, hey Alex, how you doing, buddy? Thank you, thank you. You know, the breaking news today is there's four people arrested in the Kansas City missing mothers case. You know, if you've been following this case, they've been missing for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, there's been a lot of other creators that have been boots on the ground, so to speak. Um, they've been able to show us glimpses of the landscape, the buildings, and things of that nature. Today, there was some breaking news, and it hit all over the internet, it seemed, all at once. I'm going to show you a little bit of the footage that I found. I'm not going to go to other people's streams and show you their stuff because I don't do that. Well, hang on to your hats. Here we go.
Went missing. We'll have the latest details, including more video from today's arrests, coming up tonight at 10. Here for you, Julia Thatcher, KSN News 3.
Well, that was quick, wasn't it? It's because I was watching it earlier. Here we go.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Andrus. We're bringing you breaking news tonight about the two women from Kansas that went missing while driving in Oklahoma. KSN's Julia Thatcher has been following this story. Joins us now with what we know. Julia.
Yeah, 4 people are in custody in connection to Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly's disappearance, according to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. 3 arrests happened in Cimarron County, 1 in Texas County. I asked OSBI if the people arrested have familial ties to Veronica or Jillian, and if they could tell me how many men or women are in custody. They say that information is not yet released. However, jail records show the grandmother of Veronica's children was booked this afternoon. Specific details on those charges are not listed. Investigators also tell me they are continuing to search a large area in Texas County for Veronica and Jillian. Today marks 2 weeks since those mothers went missing. We'll have the latest details, including more video from today's arrests, coming up tonight at 10. Here for you, Julia Thatcher, KSN News 3.
You know, I was watching another creator's channel, like I said earlier, and it was all over the place. And they actually pulled up the mother's Facebook of Jillian, and she said Jillian is deceased. That was her post. So somewhere, somehow, it has been noted that one of the ladies supposedly is deceased. I don't know how her mother would know that. I don't know if the FBI or the Oklahoma Federal Bureau of Investigation gave her that information, or that's just assumption. Let's just hope it's just assumption, but I don't know why somebody would put that on their Facebook page as a status if it wasn't true. Um, another thing that I've been following over the last couple weeks has been the Apple River stabbing. There was a trial. It went 8 days, and then there was obviously some some verdicts handed down. So I want to give you a little insight on what the jurors saw. I've played this video before on some of my other streams, but I'm going to play it again. So there is a trigger warning here for those of you that are too sensitive to see certain things. You might look away, but those of you that can handle it, gives you an insight on what exactly this man was going to court for. He was fighting for his life based on self-defense. And I want you to make up your mind before I show this. Not make up your mind before I show it. After I show this, what you would feel would be your verdict. Would it be guilty, non-guilty? So here is the video right here. Take a look at it. Let me.
What is he on? Whoa! 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 Where's your way? Oh God! We up! We up! What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Get away from us! What? What's going on with y'all homie? He's on camera. Tripping. 4K. He's on 4K. Yo, the new iPhone got that good quality. What do you say? Yeah, what the hell? Who is this? Yes, yes, yes. For the culture! For the culture! Who is that? For the culture! Who is that? Who the hell is this?
Go! Doesn't matter.
He's not even looking for little girl! He's not even looking for little girl!
Okay, let's stop it right there. I wanna ask you, as much as you've seen so far, let me give you some insight on what had just happened, okay? This individual that you saw on the camera, he had went floating with his friends for the day. In the court process, it showed that he had one beer, okay? And it showed that he was not intoxicated based on testimony. What you saw there was him walking around at the very beginning, just looking in the water. Let me play that again at the very beginning. That way you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
What is he on? Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Okay, right there. When he comes running up, I don't know if y'all are able to see this. Let me go back to it. Golly. Okay, let me go ahead and start this back.
What is he on? Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Okay, when he comes running up to them like that, it was discussed in the court case that he was looking for a cell phone. Okay, so it was presented as evidence that he saw the guy recording him, and he had the same kind of lanyard with the plastic part over it. And obviously he thought, hey, that guy found the cell phone. He's recording me, or he's showing me, hey, I found the cell phone. So he's running up to him. And then he realizes, hey, that's not the cell phone at all.
Where's your way? Oh God! We up! We up! What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about?
So he starts looking for his snorkels and his glasses that he had on when he was looking for the phone under the water. The guy that's recording this is being very loud. Let me give you some history on this tubing on these people. They're 17 years old. They've been smoking weed. They've been drinking. There was testimony that there was vodka, that there was another kind of hard liquor, and a lot of beer and a lot of marijuana. So this guy's being all loud. And he was asked on the stand, what made you start recording this? And he said, the guy was looking at me weird. So I started recording it just in case something happened. But then you listen to him yelling. Let's listen to him.
What?
Get away from us.
What?
What are you doing?
What's going on with y'all, homie? He's on camera.
Guys, let's go.
Scripted. He's on 4K. Yo, the new iPhone got that good quality. What did you say?
So you can see that he's looking for something in the water. Like I just told you, he was looking for his friend's cell phone. He walked down the river where his friends were up the river, and he walked down, hopefully, to intercept that cell phone. So this guy that's filming it is saying, what did he say? He's tripping. And they're saying, get away from us.
Yeah, what the hell? Who is this? Yes, yes. For the culture. Who is that? For the culture. Who is that? Who the hell is this?
Okay. If you're wondering who that lady is, she was from another group that was tubing. They were closer to the area by the sand. Okay, so the adults in that group came out and started telling him to get away. Because as you're going to hear right now, the guy that's filming is going to start yelling. He was looking for little girls. He's a raper. So they start creating more drama for this guy. He is alone, surrounded by the 17-year-olds who have been drinking, smoking weed, and this other group who has obviously been drinking as well.
Oh, doesn't matter.
He said he was looking for little girl. He said he was looking for little girl.
You're looking for little girl?
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said.
Weirding us out. I even have that part on camera.
Some young ass kid.
What the hell is this guy?
So let me ask you, those of you that are in the chat, or those of you that watch this later on, let me ask you if at any point, because there's been counter argument, he should have just walked away. The man was with purpose, okay? He was doing a good deed as he saw it. I'm not making this up. I watched the trial. I watched all 8 days of it. It's too long to stream on here to go over it and everything else, but you can watch it on Long Crime or any of the other channels that Court TV or anything like that, and you can watch it. And it goes into detail, and you can see where the attorneys on their cross-examination, the defense, get these 17-year-olds lying about what they said happened. They said that, well, we're not going to get to the knife part, but it's coming. But at this point, he's still standing there, and he's being yelled at by these females. He's being yelled at by the 17-year-olds. He's surrounded by these people. I don't know about you. Let me give you some history on this man, okay? He came over as a very young man from, I think, Russia or some kind of country over there. He put himself through school. He learned he can speak 4 or 5 languages well. He's an engineer. He's been doing it for 13 years. No kind of problem. They floated the river before. Never had any kind of violent interactions with anybody. Never had any kind of issues on his record. Nothing. And they had been coming to this river to float for a long time. So now and he had quadruple bypass probably 2 years prior to this, and it is stated in court that he still was not feeling 100%, like he was still weak, which is obviously true if you're thinking about having a quadruple bypass. I mean, you're not going to be at your best. And look at him compared to the 17-year-old that you just saw in this video. They're fitter, they're tall, they're stronger, they're young. These women even look more fit than he does. I could be this man, or anybody else that I know that is a middle-aged man could be this man on this river. And to have these individuals sitting there surrounding you and yelling at you and antagonizing you and this, that, and the other, it's a generational thing. I was raised that if people antagonize you to the point where you feel you're in danger, defend yourself. I was always told, do not start it, but you damn well should finish it. Somebody put their hand on you, you mop the floor up with their ass. That's what I was always taught. Whether that's right in this generation or whether it's not. I'm 52, this man's 54. So there's not much difference there in age. And basically what I'm saying is, when somebody's surrounding you like that and you're like, what the fuck? I'm just looking for a cell phone. And maybe he's in shock. Maybe this has never happened to him before. Have any of you ever been surrounded by a mob like this and been yelled at, called a raper, stated that you were looking for little girls, and then having people poke their fingers at you, telling you to get away and go ahead and leave and this, that, and the other? Let's go ahead and watch some more of this.
Problem, bro. We trying to have fun. If he's gonna claim you, he's gonna claim you. We don't want this motherfucker.
Okay, there it went. Do you see somebody just threw him in the water, pushed him in the water? At that point, I don't know about you, but at that point, it'd be over for me. I'd be in the same position as this man. I'd be wanting to fight to protect myself. There he was punched. I don't know if you saw that, but he was punched in the face. Right here, he's going to be pushed down in the water again. Did you see that? And there he's pushed again. He's pushed down. So let me give you a little history. 54-year-old man, quadruple bypass. He's not strong anyways, probably based on what he said. So what are you going to do? You're having all these people attacking you right now. You're not just standing there and they're yelling at you anymore. At no point did this man start becoming violent back to them when they were yelling at him. Right there, he takes the knife out. And right there, he's stabbing that guy. He's already stabbed that guy. See that guy right there? He stabbed him. There he goes right there. Having like 2 more people.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? He's dying. He's dying, bro. What? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Are we serious? Is this real? Oh my god.
And of course, the instigators all of a sudden are the victims. All of a sudden, they're the freaking victims. Are you serious? Is this real? Did he really do that? He's dying. Oh my God. Now all of a sudden they're the fucking victim? Bro, you were instigating this man. He was looking for a cell phone, and you're calling him a raper and looking for little girls? There's no little girls there.
Who is that? Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you real? Are you real? Oh my God. Oh my God, what the fuck? Are you real? Is this real? Like, that's not bike! That's not bike! That's not bike! That's not bike! That's not Isaac! Oh my God! Oh my God! This isn't real! This isn't real!
Okay. So that was presented in court, this video. The one that was recording it was obviously put on the stand first, and he stated a lot of inconsistencies. But I want to ask you, those of you that are here, just saying it's a good lesson for fuck around and find out, right? Hey, Clue, welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. Cletus, if you're with her, welcome as well. Sergeant Friday, welcome to the panel. Did you see and hear the commentary? Are you there?
In spite of me not interrupting you, I was here the whole time.
Okay.
I know it's hard to tell when I'm quiet. It shocks people.
Oh, welcome. So you saw the video, you saw the situation, you heard my commentary.
Mhm.
Like I told you, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate tonight.
I have a few questions.
All righty, let's go.
Did that man call 911?
No, let me give you some background on what. Let me give you some background on what he did. After that, he threw the knife.
Uh-huh.
It was on the shore. He went up, got dressed, went and sat in the car. They found him sitting in a car. They arrested him. He didn't call 911, but I'm sure a lot of people standing around there were calling 911.
Okay.
Hey, Goff.
So I don't know what state that's in, but they all have different laws. The stand your ground law. There's all kinds of different rules that when it comes to defending yourself, each state sees it slightly differently. It didn't appear to me that he was in. Could he? Here's a question. Forget the narrative and just watch what was happening in the clips. Pretend like you don't know, and ask yourself: could he have retreated? Could he have exercised flight and rather than fight? Was there a time for him to could have done that? Just look at the video as a whole.
Well, let me pull it up again, and we will watch it again.
I've seen the whole thing. I'm asking you. You've seen it many times either without watching it. Is there a point in that video where he could have ran and put distance between him and the people harassing him, or did he have to pull his knife and defend himself? Was that the only choice he had left?
He was looking for his friend's cell phone, Sarge. So
That's got nothing to that's. But
you're saying at what point? When the kids started yelling at him, or
when they pushed him in the water,
Go ahead.
He was standing on his feet when he stabbed the person, was he not?
Yes.
Prior to pulling the blade and standing there to stab, could he have retreated?
Of course.
Okay. That's in some states, that's part of how you have to view this. You may not agree with it, but some of the laws are written in such a way you have an obligation to retreat. And if the obligation to retreat is not exercised, then you could be culpable for any damage done to the people or person.
Okay, so
I don't know what
he
state
should
it
have.
is.
Well, let me ask you this. So he should have just stabbed the one guy and then retreated?
Why stab anybody at all? Once he got back to his feet, why didn't he put a distance between himself and those harassers?
Because they kept pushing him down in the water.
But he was able to get back to his feet, and he was standing there with nobody pushing him, and he reached out and stabbed that kid. Right or wrong?
No,
Right there. Right
I'm
there.
not. No, hold on. Right here.
Yeah,
Let's
isn't
see.
that where he did? Is that where he did? Where did he do the stabbing?
Okay, right here. He's going in the water for the first time.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right here. Let's watch it from here.
If he would, it's a good question. Listen, stop the video. Stop the presses.
Okay.
If he would have tried to retreat and they pursued him, then deadly force is now authorized. Some states have it in their law what they consider self-defense, and most states do have that clause that you need to retreat. If you can't retreat, and if retreating can put you in danger, then of course standing your ground and blowing somebody away is acceptable, right? Because what other fucking choice do you got?
Well, let's see here. I'm not gonna fold so easily. Hold on.
He applied deadly force. He
Okay.
applied deadly force with that knife.
Okay, right here.
Mhm.
At this point, when he goes in the water and
Right.
when he gets up, according to your theory,
Not
he should
theory.
walk. Okay, he should walk away, right?
Again, what state did this happen in?
See, he got pushed in the water the first time, and then this
Got
guy
slapped. Yep, slapped
Huh?
him. Yep.
there he goes in the water.
Okay.
Bam.
Got
And
slapped.
then that
Yep.
guy pushes him down.
They
Then
pushed him
gets-
again,
yeah.
and then he
Okay,
fell
so
down
there-
there laughing. Yep, yep.
So how
I
many
see
times
it.
was that? How many times was that?
Number, it doesn't, 2. What's the difference? 2, 3? What's the difference?
Have you ever been in that position?
Yeah.
And how'd you handle it?
Well, I was young, and it turned into a big fist fight, and there were more than fucking 3 of them. I got my ass kicked, but I left everybody with a scar, so it worked out well for me. So my
But
point is,
what if accidentally you killed somebody out of trying to defend yourself? Would you have said, "Hey, it was self-defense. They were
I did
mobbing"?
try to run. I did try to run away, and I couldn't. They blocked my exit from the restroom door. I was trapped in a restaurant, so it was different.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Quadruple bypass.
Wait, it doesn't matter if he had a whole new heart put in, 2 new feet, and a fucking left eye. Go ahead and finish playing your video.
Well, if he had a new eye, then
He was seeing
you
things different.
might have been able to walk away.
Listen, you
Okay, right there, he has the knife in his hand. You
Okay.
can't see it. It's in his right hand. He's
Yes.
standing.
yes,
The guy that's poking him on the back is the first
Yeah.
one to get stabbed.
yes,
And then one of the girls gets stabbed, and then the guy in the yellow shorts gets stabbed. Another girl gets stabbed, and then the 17-year-old kid. So they had to be around him close enough for him to
Yeah.
stab him. At what
Right.
point should he have left, tucked tail, and ran away? Right there.
At
Because
what
he's out
point
of
should
the
he have
water.
just wait? At what point should he just punch one of them punks in the face?
Well, what's the difference in punching him and stabbing him?
Death. Death. Not a big deal, bro. Listen, I don't think the laws are fair. Don't get me wrong. I'm not on the side of guilt or innocence. I'm on the side of what is the right thing to do in that situation. I can't say that he did anything wrong. However, what I can say, our laws are often written in ways where guilt comes with your actions. For instance, Alec Baldwin is guilty of taking a life. He should be punished for that. I don't give a shit about anything before he pulled the trigger and who did anything. Even if they
Right.
intentionally put a bullet in that gun for him to kill somebody, right? The bottom line is he aimed, he pulled the trigger. He needs to be charged with manslaughter.
Right. I agree in that one. I do.
Okay.
That was
And in
not
this one-
self-defense.
And
In
what
any
state,
way.
what state did this happen in?
Wisconsin.
All right. So we need to look at the Wisconsin code on self-defense.
Hudson, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin code. Yeah, in some states, I'll give you an example. Up here in New York, there was a baseball game and some guy got punched in the back of the neck and killed him. And I said that is what you use as a defense when you get caught in a situation like this. Okay, knowing that a single blow to the back of the head can kill you, any violence can kill you. I don't know what his lawyers presented. I don't know how they did the case, but I would have went after a self-defense motive. And you can argue he went too far, but I would argue that nobody knows his mental condition better than him, and his arming himself may have been his only way to compensate in any kind of conflict he could have bumped in. In other words,
It was
He
in
did it.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
If
He
y'all
did
can
that.
look that up and maybe put it in the chat or something where we can read it or something like that, we can bring it up.
we don't know what a punch in the face. If he'd have punched more, he's a strong guy. Look at that guy. I wouldn't want him punching me in the face. If that guy gave one of those kids a good punch in the face, that kid have went to sleep. That may
But
have
look-
bought him time to escape, or it may have backed the other kids off. They may have realized, ooh, this is more
Well,
than
at
just
this point, it was brought up. At this point, it was brought up in the court proceeding that his floating crew was coming up upon this and trying to get him to stop. And he was still, he was angry. I would have been angry too. From the moment those kids started calling me a raper and he's looking for little girls and all that. I mean, that's hard to walk away from, man. That is hard to walk away from. I don't
But
know
does
about
that,
you.
does that
but
give you the
I'm
right
not-
to strike out with a knife?
I wouldn't have at that point. I would have tried to. He was looking for his cell phone. Obviously, that cell phone meant a lot to his friend who lost it in the water. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been there looking for it.
But that's not relevant. It's not
Okay.
relevant. It certainly isn't relevant, because the bottom line, the only thing you're to judge here is his action. And based on the way the laws are written and whatever in Wisconsin, his actions have to be weighed against what the law says you can do. And in
Okay, I
cases
get
where a
that.
person in cases where a life is taken, you needn't show any intent to do harm. But if you do take a life, even if it's by accident, you could be held criminally liable for that.
Well, what you're saying right now is like, let's say an old lady. I'm going to give you this.
Let's talk
example.
about this video.
Hold
Stick
on,
with
hold
the
on.
video.
Well, okay, but I'm going to give you the scenario because this is what you're saying. An old lady, you're walking across the street, you get close to the old lady, she hits you with her cane.
Mhm.
Okay, you can't. The most you can do is grab the cane so she can't hit you anymore. You can't body slam her and throat punch her and all this and then claim self-defense. You can't do it. Okay, so what you're saying is, in some states there is a substantial amount of force that you can use based on your situation. In this situation, right here, he's about to stab one person.
Mhm.
So,
Is that the person that dies?
no, the 17-year-old dies.
Okay.
This person is part of he was just trying to de-escalate. Right here, he's telling him, hey, bro, chill out. But look what he does.
He hit a woman. You hit a woman. He hit a woman. You hit him.
See, he stabbed that guy. He stabbed the
That guy
guy.
does not die. That guy does not die.
No, he sliced him. Gut sliced him.
Okay. Then
So
what?
yeah.
Then show the video. He backs up, right? So he retreats after he strikes, and everybody's now flipping out. Are they trying to attack him now?
See over there toward the top of the screen?
Yeah.
Those people have been stabbed. That's a
Yes, sir.
woman, another guy, and
The
another
video
woman.
shows him stabbing one person.
See
Now
there
he
he is.
retreats. Look at him retreating, right? Okay.
Yes, he's retreating.
And it took 5 stab wounds on people to retreat. What I want to see from the video, and we probably are never going to get it, is how did the other people come into contact with him to be stabbed? Were they attacking him? Did he attack them? Did he go after them
Yes.
because they were the ones that were harassing him?
The adult?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
the adult. Yeah, the adult.
He
right
stabbed
here.
5 people.
Yeah, this lady right here. The
Did he
kids
go to
were
her? Okay.
the kids were mocking him and doing all kinds of shit. This lady and her crew, the ones who got stabbed, 4 of these adults got stabbed, and one 17-year-old died. So this lady just came and butted into business and started telling him, get the fuck out of here.
Who the hell is this?
And he stabs her.
Later on.
He said he was looking for little girl. He said he was looking for little girl. You're looking for little girl. Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
See, she put her hands on him right there. Whether that was a threatening move or not, you put your hands on me, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Keep playing it. You don't even have to have the volume on. Go ahead. Let him see. I want to see where he's got no knife in his hand there. I don't see her doing anything violent to him nor anyone else at this moment. Right? He's waving to his
Right.
friends on shore. Watch.
Yes.
Right? He's there now. Does he got his knife out? No. He gets
Right.
pushed.
Yes.
Wait.
After he comes out of the water, he
Right
puts
there, his knife must be out. No?
No, not yet.
All right.
Right after he comes up the second time,
Yeah.
after he gets punched, he gets thrown down. Right here, he
He goes
pulls the
down.
knife right there. He pulls the knife
Now
right there.
he's got the knife.
Yes. This is the first guy that gets stabbed.
Okay. Let it keep rolling. See, he stabbed other people before him. He had to have. Because unless he's running around stabbing people, the next you see him, he's running away.
Okay,
Where did the other 4 people come in contact with that knife?
156. Right here is the first stabbing. Right here.
Okay.
That guy,
Number 1.
that guy right there, the yellow
Yep,
yellow
the orange
short.
trunks or whatever it is. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
he was
one.
the first one. He was the first one.
Okay.
And then this guy comes. Right
Right
there.
here, telling him to calm down. And he stabs him.
Yeah, and then there's the girls. And obviously he stabs them off camera. But he walks off.
Yeah, he leaves. Mhm. Listen, I don't think that he would have been in trouble if he'd have stopped at the first stabbing. The other 4 stabbings are an excessive act. And that may be, in fact, why he was convicted. I'd like to see some of the look, I know the kids are wrong and they're bad and they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. I'm not sticking up for the kids. I'm analyzing whether this guy's actions were justified in that situation. And I think if he'd have stabbed the one guy that pushed him in and then retreated, there would have been no way to convict this guy. It's the 4 other stabbings that caused problems. And the fact that he's able to walk away as he did, that obviously, and he was waving to his friends on the shore. He had ample, I think, opportunity to try to get away from those kids. What was he convicted of? Do you know?
We're about to get there. But let me ask you this. Golf says they just watched their own kid taunt an older man. Fuck them.
Yeah,
No
nobody's
yellow.
right. Nobody is right. I'm not arguing anybody did anything right here. But the question is, should this man have been convicted of a crime? That's what you would ask me when you sent me this video.
Right.
And I said most likely, yeah, he should have been.
I'm asking you, because that's what we're doing.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm asking you at what point, because you said he should have walked away. I don't see that. Maybe, I mean, I'm wanting you to explain it to me so that I can see that, because I can see your point of view. My point of view is he did the right thing. You know, he did the right thing. And I'm not convicting him or making him innocent. He should have drove off in a white Elantra. The shit would have never happened.
Listen, I did a 3-point turn today, and I'm hoping nobody's killed in that neighborhood.
You know, I mean, he did that. He stabbed 5 people in what?
Right.
2 minutes and something, if that?
See, again, people get all emotional into this, and what you have to do is step back. And I don't know the law, but I do know that many states, especially liberal states, have provisions that are not favorable to common sense. That's fair, right?
Right.
And so you've got to wonder if that isn't part of the law there. But I'd also like to know, was he charged with manslaughter?
No,
Because-
he was. Let me go ahead and pull up the
Yeah, please.
sentence. That way you guys can can see what he was sentenced for. I wanted to give you some background before we got there.
Well, I don't really care about the guys anything prior to this incident. I'm just curious what they charged him with, what they arrested him on, what they eventually tried him on, and what he was convicted of.
Well, I'm gonna get there right here.
Yeah. No, I'm yeah.
Can y'all see that?
What? Hudson,
Okay.
it's small. I can't read it.
Okay, hold on a second.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Got
The
Kluman
knife,
here.
the knife that he had. Look, here's a little history of the knife. The reason he had the knife on his shorts. Have you ever been fishing?
Yeah.
Have you ever been fishing? Have you ever been on the river and you needed to cut the rope and not had a damn knife on you? That shit's impossible. So that's why he had the knife. The last time that they went to the river, he didn't have a knife. None of his crew had a knife. So therefore, they struggled with that.
Okay, it's a class
this
B felony. Let me read the law to you now. Okay. This is why I'm saying to you the other 4 fucking stabbings are a problem.
Okay, let's go ahead and read this. It says
940.02, first degree reckless homicide. Whoever recklessly causes the death of another human being under circumstances which show utter disregard for human life is guilty of a class B felony. Now, the other 4 stabbings are important because the guy didn't try to retreat after he did stab. He defended himself against the guy that we don't see in the video actually attacking him, correct?
right.
That kid didn't attack him before, and the kid didn't slap him. And that kid is the one that was trying to talk him out of it, right? And he stabbed him. If he would have retreated
Hold
at that point.
Hold on a second. What we didn't see on camera doesn't mean it didn't happen. Just because his buddy pulled the camera away when the 17-year-old is sitting there beating his ass, and then he pans back whenever he's by himself, we may never know what made him stab the 17-year-old and kill him. You get what I'm saying?
No, but you're not following my.
We're only
privileged about the dead guy.
We're only privileged to so much information on these videos.
That's all I was talking about. I see. That's what I don't understand. I never brought up a 17-year-old that died. I said if he'd have stabbed the guy as he did, the first guy, and retreated, it's the 4 other stabbings that now put in question. Okay, is what he did by stabbing the other 4 people. The first guy, you might argue, is justified because he was confused. He was being attacked. He was pushed in the water. Somebody poked him in the back from behind. He turned around and stabbed him. That I have no objection with. You follow me?
Right.
But it didn't end there. And what we're left knowing is that he stabbed 4 more people, one of which died. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's where you get caught up with the law on the 4 additional stabbings that resulted in the death of a 17-year-old. That's exactly what they went after him for, was the death of the 17-year-old. Reckless homicide. Recklessly causes the death of another. So the point is, had he stabbed and retreated that first time, this guy would never have been charged. It would have been self-defense. Okay?
This is a messed up state. I'm trying to find here. I pulled up the self-defense law. Let me.
Yeah,
This really doesn't say much else. It says, father of the 17-year-old Isaac Schumann, who died at the attack, spoke to the press following the verdict. It's been 21 months. We've been waiting for justice, and we got it today. The trial lasted 8 days with more than 36 witnesses. The jury began deliberations after closing arguments Wednesday and reached the verdict Thursday morning. He stabbed 5 people on the river July 30th, 2022, killing Schumann and injuring 4 others. The victim ranged in ages from 17 to 24 and were from Wisconsin and Minnesota. During the trial, the prosecution sought to prove Mew was the aggressor, while Mew's attorneys argued he acted in self-defense.
Right, and look at their arguments. I think are they are what they are. But the thing is, it's the other 4 stabbings that triggered this guy's conviction. I promise you. Go ask the jurors. If he would have stabbed the first kid, even though that first kid had nothing to do with it, he couldn't be held culpable because the guy was being attacked from unknown, pushed in the water, slapped. He could feel threatened. The first person touched him on the back. He turned and swung with his knife. If he would have then retreated, stabbing nobody else, this man wouldn't have been charged. Okay. Sadly, we don't have video of what took place, what prompted. In fact, he may have been jumped by the other four and stabbed them in self-defense, but we don't have video of that, so he can't even prove it. Right?
I find it hard to believe that this was not self-defense. What's up, Kim?
Listen, we can have differences of opinion. However, the law is a strange bedfellow.
Yes, I'm about to pull it up. So I'm puckering up my asshole right now as we speak.
What are you bringing up?
Can you see that?
No, it's too small.
Okay, I'm going to read it. I'm going to put it in the chat, and then I'll pull it up.
All right, you read it. Go ahead there. Read us our bedtime stories, Uncle Paul.
Okay. Well, shit. Self-defense and the defense to others. A person is privileged to threaten or intentionally use force against another for the purpose of preventing or terminating what the person reasonably believes to be an unlawful interference with his or her person by such other person. The actor may intentionally use only such force or threat thereof as the actor reasonably believes is necessary to prevent or terminate the interference.
Right.
The actor may not intentionally use force which is intended or likely to cause death or great bodily harm unless the actor reasonably believes that such force is necessary.
There you go. And that's why that law tells you
imminent death or great bodily harm to self or other. Right. See, this state is messed up because here in Texas, you can go all out. You know, you can stab 5 people and
but this isn't Texas, right? This isn't Texas.
Oh,
that's what I said in the beginning, right? Is that
this is Wisconsin?
There's very strange laws in governing self-defense. And when you back that up to the statement before this last one, you put 3 little screens up there. Put the second screen up if you can. And people in the audience, that's the deal with when your emotions get involved with what you're viewing. I think what those I could run a list of all the things those kids did wrong. And I bet you're going to agree with everything I observed. But you have to weigh that against the actions taken by the gentleman that was the target of their harassment. And was his action justified? And I say insofar as much as the first stabbing, yes. Anything after that, though, no.
So in your state, you don't have to tell me where you're from, but this is for the chat as well. Is your state, do you know the law for self-defense in your state? Is it based the same as this? To only do so much as to protect yourself and walk away, or is it kind of like Florida and Texas where you can just do as much as you
do? You remember what did I say to you before? Was there ever a moment in time before we even got on the stream? Was there ever a moment in time where you could have safely retreated, or at least retreated? And there is. That does present itself. Okay, I think that the stabbing of the first guy should have been enough, but I suspect that he went over. Okay, people that were trying to come to the situation where the kid was stabbed, they were coming obviously towards this guy because this guy was the stabber, and he took it upon himself. Maybe he interpreted that as another threat and lashed out. And he stabbed 4 more people.
I would believe that this situation needs to be reviewed. You know, I mean, I believe that this needs to be reviewed for future cases because today's generation is totally different than the generation we grew up in. Just like you said earlier, you were in that position. I've been in that position where people have been outnumbering me. They've been mocking and joking, and then one person gets brave and they push me. You know, at that point, we're taught not to duck and run. I mean, as men, We're taught not to duck and run. We're taught to eliminate the threat. Most people don't know the law. Most people don't know the law. They just know I'm feeling threatened. I need to wipe these people off the map so that I can get
Right. I
away.
mean, but think about that. So you get in a bar fight where there's a bunch of people, 6, 8, 10 people that are surrounding you to stab one of them. Do you run around and stab everyone else in the bar now? No. You retreat, brother. See, listen, I think the guy was justly convicted based on the laws of Wisconsin. To me, I don't have an argument with that. The situation.
Now that I see the law, it makes a lot more sense. I mean, before I read the law, I was kind of going on the laws that I know from my state, so it's totally different. But the lesson to be learned here is know the law. Know the law of your state.
And we don't know how the other four people came to be at the end of his blade. There's no video of that, right? And that's I bet you if you ask the jurors that if those other 4 people hadn't been injured, well, then there wouldn't have been a death, would there?
No.
Right. So that to me is the tipping point for the jury to find him guilty. And I don't think the jury did him a disservice. I don't think they did anything wrong.
The 17-year-old kid, he was with the 17-year-old. They were drinking, smoking weed, all that on the river. They were 17 years old.
The person that you saw stabbed on camera did not die.
No, that person just he's still in the hospital. Him and one of the females are still in the hospital. He got him pretty good.
So, what was he wearing? Swim trunks. Didn't you watch the video? All right, Clue, calling Clue. Come in, Clue.
The kid that died, he was wearing purple shorts. We really didn't see much of him. He was at the very beginning of the video. You really can't see much of him. He's toward the beginning of the video. When he's running up, you can kind of see him. He's off to the left, but you don't see a lot of him, which makes me wonder, how was he stabbed? I mean, why was he so close to this man?
Right.
Okay. Let me see if I can catch him.
So he ran up to a few girls and he reached into their tube and tried to grab something. What was he grabbing?
No, he was running. He was looking for his friend's cell phone. He walked down the river to try to catch it before it floated past. It was in one of those little pouches that people use when they float the river. Well, he looks up because he has a snorkel and he's diving under the water to try to see if he can see the cell phone. And then he comes up and he sees that guy filming him. So he has the same thing around his neck. So he thinks, hey, this guy got the cell phone. See right there? He looks at him and he's like, hey, he got the cell phone. They're playing a joke.
Video.
So he runs up.
Yeah. And he reaches in to get something.
The cell phone.
Right. Okay. And that's when they start saying he's trying to grab girls. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, that's when he's saying he's looking for little girls. He was snorkeling.
Right.
He was supposedly looking under the tubes at little girls. That's what they were saying. He's a raper. He's a raper.
Right. But did you see how a middle-aged stranger came up and reached his hand into a group of kids he doesn't know? Did you see that?
Yeah.
That triggered the kids to be assholes. Nobody understood what he was doing there. And I don't hear him yelling, I'm looking for a cell phone. I'm looking for a cell phone. I don't hear him trying to
This kid right here is the one that died.
Okay.
See, he's the one that's right up on him yelling, get out of here, get away. That's the 17-year-old kid that died. This kid right here, I don't know what he did to cause that man to stab him more than he stabbed the other people, but he's all in his face right there.
Right.
And then his friend turned the camera.
All right, back it up to the beginning. Let's see if we can identify the tubes that he's reaching into.
He's reaching into the cameraman's tube. which is the black guy. At the very end, it's yelling. That's whose tube he's reaching in. Do you want sound or no sound?
No sound. I don't need sound. Let's just see. He comes up. There's a guy with the camera. Who's the guy with the foot sitting right there? There's the cameraman, the black dude. They grabbed him. He grabbed
Right.
where the black dude is. Okay.
And then he realizes no, and then he drops his.
Who are those legs belong to? Is that the purple suit guy? Or was
There's
that a
the
girl?
purple. There's the purple suit guy. There's another guy, and there's another guy, and the black guy
Who
is in
came
the
out of
tube.
that tube? Back it up and slowly see who came out of that tube. Who is that person right there with those legs hanging in the water?
The black guy testified in court that he jumped up after he grabbed his leg.
But who is in the tube that the camera? Look, go back to the beginning. You see somebody's foot. There's two tubes there. There's that white guy. There's a white guy or girl. He grabs the black
Yeah.
dude.
There's two. There's a black dude and there's a white dude next to him.
Who's the white dude? Is he the purple? This is what I want to try to figure out. Is that the guy in purple shorts?
No, that guy was already up.
Dude, the dude in the tube he's reaching over isn't already up. The dude in the tube that's white is being reached over by the elderly guy, and the guy's grabbing the black dude. Who's the white dude in the tube that he's reaching over?
Hold on,
Is
you're
that the
making me
purple
nervous.
short guy?
Hold on, you're making me nervous here. I'm trying to do this. Press shift, comma to do slow mo. Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. Do I press play first?
Listen, wait a second. Before you do this, don't have flashbacks to your short bus.
Oh, I'm trying to do this slow mo and it's not working. Let me just change the speed of this.
Yeah, please. Press shift comma to whatever to do slow mo something.
See if that's slow enough.
Okay. and
Let me
this is
start it back.
after. Start it back up. Yeah. Okay. Who's this person here? This person now proceeds to get out of that tube. This is what I'd like to know. Yeah, we lose
You
it.
can't see his suit.
Okay, you lose it. Can we get a reflection? Where's Tommy?
Oh shit. I think
Clue discovered a new reflection person today. An expert on reflections in her stream.
Okay, let's see the Baywatch slow mo right here. This is what I would look like, guys, if I was in slow mo. If I was going to assume, I would say that was the purple shorted guy. See, you can't see his shorts,
No, you can't.
but I'm sure you could see it in the reflection. No, because there's the purple shorted guy.
There-
Do you see him?
No. He was in the
Right.
background. Was he in the background?
No, hold on a second. He's off to the left right here when he pans up. Right past this guy. Right there.
There was
He's
a
this
girl.
guy right here, the purple shorted guy.
I think that was a girls' bathing. So, but anyway, okay. The only reason I'm curious is so there's when you take the the video and what we're seeing. Well, now we know why the kids responded the way they did. That's not right what they did. But they responded to him reaching to the cameraman to try to grab something he believed was a phone, but these people don't know what the hell he's doing. So if you play the volume, is he yelling, "Give me my phone, give me my phone, give me my phone," or is he running up
He's
to
not
that kid?
saying shit. He doesn't say nothing but one time, and he yells something, but nobody can understand what he's saying because he's so far away. Like here in a minute, he's gonna yell something to one of the kids, but it's so far away you can't.
All right, but can I ask you this question?
Sure.
Now that we saw the entire
What's going on with
That's
y'all,
not
homie?
that.
He's on camera.
Right there, look. He's about to yell something.
Yo, the new iPhone got that good quality.
Okay, what's your question? Sarge?
Anyway, in context, I don't see any miscarriage of justice here, and I think the situation through involuntary acts on both sides turned into a fucking confrontation that shouldn't have started. He didn't approach those kids asking them to help find a cell phone. He approached those kids on the thought that there was a cell phone in a tube, and he reached for it, and that's what prompted the reaction from the kids. Now, the kids' reactions, I'm not condoning, right?
Right.
Okay, but so they all had a part to play in this, and in the end, one person died and 5 people were stabbed, and that situation doesn't, if you're going to say his acts were reasonable, well, then I'm going to argue that him grabbing into a tube, unbeknownst to any of these kids, their reaction was reasonable too. What do you do if some guy that size comes running into your group of kids and you're all 17 to 24 years old and this guy reaches into one of the guy's tubes like he's grabbing the guy? Aren't you going to start making fun of your kid? You're going to say something.
I'm going to jump up and do probably what they did at 17.
Okay, that's being fair. Thank you. Everybody is wrong here. I'm going to say that. But in the eyes of the law, what he did was illegal. And he's going to go to jail for it.
Well, he can spend up to 97. He can spend up to 97 years in prison.
No, he shouldn't have stabbed 5 people. He should have stopped at the first one. He wouldn't be in jail now, would he?
Something about stabbing multiple people is a trend these days.
Yeah, one is never enough. It's like eating a fucking Lay's potato chip. You saw the commercial. You can never have just one.
I mean, serious. You can't. I mean, it's like people just don't want to kill just one person. They got to take as many people out as possible. I'm already in trouble. Might as well go all the way out. That's the addict mentality right there.
Jeff, there's no indication in that video he screamed it out. There's no way to say that he did, because the video shows he did not. The video's all the evidence we have. This what if he could have isn't part of the conversation. We have so much information to deal with, and that's all we have. And that's what you got to base your understanding on. Not coulda, woulda, shoulda, maybe, mighta. God only knows, fuck, what the fuck, man.
Well, I mean, look, I've done that before. I've dropped a flip-flop in the water, or I've dropped my shades in the water. There's been people floating by, and they didn't start yelling at me like that. They may have asked, "Hey, what are you looking for? Can we help?"
Right.
It was none of that.
No, this situation turned out to what it turned out to, but I don't think, what do you think that the jury got it wrong?
I really do. I mean, it's sad that the 17-year-old had to die. It's sad that the others got stabbed. But when I saw this the very first time, I thought, I was like, no, they got it. He probably overreacted and went off on the kids. But then when I saw the video, I was like, oh, hell yeah, he was justified. He was justified. They were putting their hands on him. They pushed him down in the water. They were haggling him, that kind of stuff. I thought, man, there's no way that he's going to be convicted. And he was convicted. Clue, I hope you feel better. I don't know what was up with those fish sticks. Maybe the tartar sauce was bad if you had tartar sauce. What do you guys in the chat think? Do y'all think that the jury got it right? Do you think that they got it wrong? Do you think, what now that you've heard the law, do you change your perception of what you thought before? Because I admitted I changed mine. I mean, I was one-dimensional, and once I saw the law, which you can't dispute, because it is written, you got to go with what's written for whatever state you live in. So what do you guys think? Was he justified? Was it self-defense? They got it wrong? Based on the law? Based on what we saw in the video? Is there anybody in chat?
Listen, unknown fact about Clue and Cletus is these people come up with illnesses that I've never seen, heard, or even imagined. I don't know how they get stricken with them. They don't last long. They're short lived, but they're fucked up. Oh man. I won't expose any of these particular things because it's their health, but they do have some bad luck with some of these sudden illnesses that last 24 or 48 hours. It's kind of crazy.
So do you raise your kids to walk away? Did you raise your kid to walk away when somebody was hacking them like that, or even put their hands on them? What did you say to your kids?
Well, one thing I said is that we generally can sense when there's a conflict between you and someone else, and your best thing to do is to avoid the person. And it'll remedy itself over time or it won't. But that's the first step. And if they push it, if they confront you or corner you, and it appears that they're going to perform an act of violence, you strike, and then get out of there. You're not on TV putting on a 15-round boxing match. You're trying to protect yourself. So strike and get out. And she's a girl. I mean, get away. Is basically.
This is a good statement right here. Yeah, the law is the law, but at what point do we hold parents responsible for kids, especially underage action? Because they were drinking and they were smoking weed. They were under the influence.
Right.
Would they have acted that way if they were sober?
Well, that doesn't matter. This is what makes difficult. This is what makes dealing with information difficult is none of that actually matters. What matters are the acts that you can witness and then weigh it against the law. Do those acts violate the law? It's that cold. And that's what you do with data. That's why you got a defense and a prosecution. Their interpretation of what they're seeing is opposite, right? This guy claims self-defense. These people say, no, it was negligent homicide. And in the end, the prosecution won. And I would bet if you could contact a juror and ask them, what was the tipping point for negligent homicide? I think they would agree it was the 4 other stabbings, one of which resulted in a death.
I believe we need to teach people better social skills. We need to get back to teaching juveniles that it's not okay to have a mouthpiece all the damn time. Your opinion doesn't really matter all the time. And you don't know everything. You only know what you know. And there's times that you should just shut up and not antagonize it or make it worse. You should just listen to what people have to say.
He got sentenced to how long?
He hasn't been sentenced yet, but he could get 97 years.
Yeah. I think the maximum is 60, I read, but there's other charges he was convicted of along with, it's not just one charge he got a conviction.
Yeah, and he's 54, so it's basically a life sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I look at the information and I agree with all the things you're saying about the kids and their actions, but I also agree with the jury's conclusion. I mean, one thing doesn't necessarily doesn't equal the death of an individual. I don't think anything that was done to him at that point required him to kill somebody. And I think once he stabbed the first person, he made his point of self-defense. He should have retreated, but he didn't.
He should have stayed around.
I'm from Russia. I do have a Russian name.
So it's not the same thing, but there are a lot of cases in the news where certain things have erupted. People take sides and everything like that. You didn't see that in this case. The
case didn't get any coverage, but that would have been a good case to discuss across true crime. But it would have turned into this shit show, right? And some of the people would have went after the kid in the purple shorts or the kid in the tube or the fucking guy that did this or did that. The old man, they would have dug up stuff. It would have turned into a circus. And the way we've discussed it, I respect the idea that you should be able to defend yourself until defending yourself is no longer a requirement. I subscribe to that. But I'm also aware that there's laws in each state that vary, and your level of defense is also governed. And knowing that, you have to look at that and accept that that's reality, whether you like it or not, whether it's fair or not. That's reality. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you come down to. And it's hard for people to deal with information that way. They're also used to dealing with, these kids shouldn't have acted this way. Their parents, okay, but that stuff is not even relevant to the situation. In as much as everybody did something, then everybody's at fault there, even the older guy. His initial interaction with these kids was to reach out and grab one of them. That is a problem.
So at what point are the kids culpable for their behavior? I mean, they're not getting charged with anything.
No, but here, what I'm saying is that if you were sitting there with you and a few of your friends, and I just ran up out of the blue and grabbed into one of the inner tubes of one of your friends, you guys would all respond to that. You'd all respond to defend that person, wouldn't you? What am I doing grabbing this guy? All I'm trying to say is it plays both sides of the coin reacted wrongly, but both sides of the coin reacted on a situation presented by the other party. That man reached out and grabbed. They responded to that by being assholes and pushing him and laughing and making jokes.
See, at that point right there, that's where it should have ended. They should have helped him up and said, hey, we're just fucking with you. We're sorry. They go on their way. He goes on his way, waits for his crew or whatever. That lady and her adult tubers, they should have never got involved. They had nothing to do with them. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that got stabbed the most. I mean, I would have seen if he would have stabbed 4 kids and 1 adult, then it would have been a different situation. Then I could see your point. Mm-hmm. But he stabbed 4 adults and 1 kid. So in his mind, once he would be attacked like that.
Well, aren't you as an adult almost compelled to come to the aid of younger people? You got little teenagers over there in inner tubes. Whatever they're doing. But what I'm trying to say is, in all fairness, the situation when you try to look at it from,
we just fucking mind our own business, bro.
I don't know. I've intervened. I've intervened.
I mean, seriously, I told you I was going to be the devil's advocate.
I've intervened. I had a woman slap her kid in Kmart one time. I said, "You ever touch that kid again in my eyesight, I'm going to knock you the fuck out." I mean, she'd give that kid a slap in the face so you could hear it the aisle over. And the burst of tears come flying out of the kid's mouth. I don't care what the kid did. Well, what could he do at Kmart? Stick something in his pocket or keep complaining he wants something? And you open hand slap that kid?
How many good Samaritans have gotten killed trying to stop a robbery, a purse snatch,
I know,
or something like that?
In this case, none of that matters, right?
Domestic violence. You go to arrest the husband who's beating you or who's beating the woman. You're the police. You're arresting this guy. And what happened? The woman comes and jumps on you for arresting her guy. Even though 30 minutes ago he was pumping her through the floor.
Yeah, see what Clue just said? And here's what I'm trying to say. And we don't spend enough time we see these things. And our feelings and our understanding is oftentimes very limited understanding, not because we're stupid, but because we just don't have all the facts, right?
Yeah.
We come to conclusions and we ride that conclusion and we stay on that horse. And then when you actually start to parse this out based on the known law, which is a fact, the law is the law. And then you start reviewing the actions of the actors. You're going to oftentimes see whether the law was correct in its actions or not. And I believe in this case, from what I'm witnessing here, it made the right conclusion.
Clue, I get what you were saying, but there's a difference. I mean, he wasn't doing anything to the kids until they shoved him down.
But you know, one of those kids with the reaction that came from those kids. Just be aware. Those kids can react in any way to somebody reaching into that inner tube of that camera guy. You don't know how these kids are going to react. How would you react? You don't know what you would do. You might jump up and punch the guy in the face.
And that would have been at 17, yes.
Yeah.
and I could have gotten stabbed and killed.
Yes.
That would have been the consequence for my impulsiveness.
Yes.
Thank you.
You impulsive son of a.
I mean,
And-
honestly, that would have been the consequence, and that's what
It's the-
happened here. That's what happened here. Everything
you-
was
you think-
impulsive. None of them really thought it through. Like Clue said, I don't think
that's a-
anybody intended on hurting anybody that day. It just
I
got
don't
out
think
of
so either. Right.
it got out of hand really quickly.
Right.
Whoa.
And so and then someone died. And it wasn't the initial person that he struck. It was a group of 4 other people. So I don't know. Look, we do this all the time. Like I was saying yesterday, where you could take everything Seth does and paint a horrific picture of his involvement. But none of it means anything because there's no evidence he's involved at all. And if you're going to use even current actions that you think are whatever, that doesn't give you the right to automatically make him a guilty party and treat him as if he's guilty. You have to wait till all the facts come in, or the facts stop pouring in, and the result is what the result is. This kid may never be found, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
We don't know if there was ever a crime committed. We don't know how he got out of that house. There's no evidence to tell us how. So why are we running around saying Chris is guilty, this one's guilty, that one's guilty? And we're not basing it on evidence that we know that they removed the child from the house. There's nothing showing that. We're basing it off from his divorces, the CPS report, stuff from his past. And we're seeing, oh, this guy's probably a scumbag, so of course he did it. That's got to stop. This situation is a great example of, if you look at that entire video and understand and have the law next to you and watch what the man does, watch what prompts these children. These children didn't come out of nowhere and surround this guy. That interaction was prompted by the gentleman that stabbed. He didn't obviously intend to cause this grief with these kids, but he didn't have the sense not to ask the person. He just reached into their tube. Of course, these young guys, young guys want to be alpha males. They want to beat their daddy up. That's a rite of passage. And old daddy is trying to grab you in your inner tube, and these young boys all jumped up in the defense, right? That's why I'm asking. I'm wondering if the person at inner tube was a girl, the person he reached over, because when you watch that, the foot that you see in the picture just doesn't look like a dude's foot to me.
It could have been. It could have been. That would have started the whole thing. If that was a girl,
That's
that
why
would
they're
have
yelling, he's
started
grabbing
the
girls.
camera.
He's grabbing
Hey,
girls.
he's looking for little girls. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I kept asking you, can you keep playing? And now Clue's saying it's a dude. She's probably right. But if that was a girl, okay, then this guy's grabbing for girls. That's what they interpreted that as. That would be one reason to explain the kid's reaction. But here's the point. No matter what explanation you put on it, the facts are there in the video, and the man stabbed 5 people. And
Well, let me ask you this, okay? Since we're talking about age and everything else, what if it was an 8? Here goes my what if, because I'm playing devil's advocate here. Okay. If the guy wouldn't have been 54 years old and he would have been an 18-year-old kid and would have done the same thing, would it be viewed the same way? I'm talking about from start to finish, from the lady yelling at him, get out of here, this, that, and the other, just because he looked like Brian Koberger. He was creepy. He was, looking for little girls. He was a raper. He was this, that, and the other.
It might even have been more violent reaction by the kids that were there, to be honest with you.
So would he have been justified to stab all of them?
If all of them struck him or attacked him, I believe the only people that attacked him were the young kids connected to the initial contact he made. The older people that were stabbed did not make contact with him physically in that video that we can see.
They did. Yeah, they did. They're the ones that pushed him down in the water.
The adults pushed him in the water, or the kids?
The older adults pushed him in the water. 2 of the older adults, one of them punched him in the face, and then one of the women pushed him back down. Yeah.
Those weren't kids that were doing that to him?
No. They're 20-something years old, 23, 24 years old.
Yeah, I'd like to see that video play to see who's pushing him down.
The guy in the yellow shorts,
yeah,
he's 22 or 23.
All right, so he's one of the kids, still a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
And the girls that were there, that were standing there, they weren't young girls. They were adult women.
No, they were in their 20s. They were in their 20s because it said the age range from 17 to 24.
So they were still kids.
Those girls looked mighty old to be 24 years old, though.
Yeah,
I thought they were like in their 40s.
it's not a good video.
I guess women don't have the shape they had once.
Let me ask you this. Let me just ask this question. When he went at the inner tubes, the people that initially jumped up and responded to him were the kids associated with those tubes.
Yes. Yes.
And then a little bit away, there was another part of their group. And they also then responded and came over.
Those were the adults.
And they were what age?
Anywhere from 21 to 24.
Okay, so still kids. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know they're legally adults, but they're not an adult.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that.
Don't do that. 21 years old, you're closer to your teen years than you are adult years.
No, don't do
You got
that.
more experience as a teenager than you do an adult.
No.
At 21, you don't have more experience as a teenager than an adult? Than being an adult, you're not closer to a childhood than you are adulthood?
No.
You've only
Not
had
in our day. In our day, 18, they kicked you out of the house, told you go get a job, go fight for your country, whatever the hell you wanted to do, but you weren't living in our home.
to make you an adult. Yeah, to give you that adult experience. Which one of those kids went
Hey,
to the
At
military?
what age? That's my problem with all this. Is like you can say, okay, and people do it all the time. They can say, my kid is 25. They're still a kid. No, they're not a kid. Technically, they're an adult. Once
The
they hit
ideal
it,
one- yeah. Okay. All right. I
They're
don't dispute
adults.
that at all. I don't dispute that at all. Okay.
so my question is this: could his age have been a bias to the jury as we're saying, he should have knew better because he was older. He should have handled this better because they were younger. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Should he have just been able to walk away because he was older? He should have known better. He shouldn't have stabbed nobody.
Guy
should
was
have-
looking for a cell phone. He was looking for a cell phone to bum rush some kid sitting in a tube and reach into his tube is something an adult should know better. It's a stranger. There's a bunch of young kids there, young men. You're saying they're adults, young adults. And you're gonna
No, these are kids. They're 17. All
Okay,
those
all
young
right,
kids
so-
are 17.
So should he not have known how to address that situation? Should he have charged into that tube and reached across like that? No, he shouldn't have done that. Does that mean he should have? He should be killed for that, or these kids should have shot him? No, it doesn't mean that either. But my point is, the situation. Everybody did something wrong, and everybody overreacted, and in the end, somebody died at the
Well,
hand
according-
of the.
According to the law that I pulled up, they could have stabbed him. And he told the cops that they had knives and they were trying to pull his shorts down. That was stated in court. And then he changed his story. He lied he lied about that.
Say that
So
again.
it says, self-defense and defense of others. A person is privileged to threaten or intentionally use force against another for the purpose of preventing or terminating what the person reasonably believes
Yeah.
to be an unlawful interference with his or her person by such another person. So according to your definition, him running up to them would have been applicable by the law. They could have defended themselves
Correct.
only to get him away from them.
Correct.
But they were yelling at him to get away. And their
they were.
yelling at him did not work.
And he then struck back, and he then became the aggressor with the blade. So again, when you
Once-
read that law and watch the video, you just
Once he was shoved in the water more than once and punched in the face. You
Excuse
get
me.
punched in the face, are you going to tell me you're underwater? You're going to say, okay, at what level do I need to stab these people? And who do I need to stab first to get reasonable?
No, you're way off base, bro. You actually made a case for the kids and don't even you made an argument to justify what the kids did. Your original statement completely 100% proved that the kids acted correctly. When you read that law, read that law again and watch that video. Some guy that you don't know runs
I know.
over and grabs one of your buddies in an inner tube. What does the law say you're allowed to do at that point?
Defend yourself.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When that man reached into the inner tube,
You're yelling at me. Why are you yelling at me?
well, listen, when he reached into the inner tube, was it not then at that moment in time the right for those kids to defend themselves?
But then
Yeah.
he was also in his right once they pushed him
No,
down.
You're
Yes,
not,
he was.
You're not absorbing the point. Who
I get what
initiated?
you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Who
Was
initiated
Iran,
contact?
was Iran justified in retaliating against Israel?
No, you're changing the topic because you actually just spoke the truth and you don't even want to owe up to your own truth.
Okay, I get what I said. I know what I said.
All right,
They
so let's
were-
not beat around the bush.
They
When
were
he
within
ran
the
up-
law to defend themselves because
Okay. What were those
according to
kids
the
doing?
video,
What were the kids doing in the video? Telling them to get the fuck out of here. Right? And he didn't seem to want to get the fuck out of here. So they pushed him. And he still didn't get the fuck out of here. My point is, when you read that law, everything the kids did comport with the law. Prove me wrong.
you're not allowed to put your hands on anybody though.
What does that law say? Put it back up on the screen. Come on.
You're not
I
allowed.
love
You
the debate.
you become the aggressor when you put your hands on somebody.
What does
Word.
the law say you're allowed to do? A person is privileged to threaten or intentionally use force against another for the purpose of preventing or terminating what the person reasonably believes to be an unlawful interference with his or her person by such other person. The actor may intentionally use only such force or threat therefore as the actor reasonably believes is necessary. You reached into a kid's tube with no warning, with no understanding. We don't know you. We responded. We all jumped up. We all told you, get the fuck out of here. You're a pervert. We pushed you. You got up. We slapped you. You got up. And then rather than run away, you didn't try to retreat. You then brandished the knife and you stabbed 5 people. My argument for the law does support the children's reaction. And you guys should see that too. He initiated contact with them with no clear reason as to why he was doing it. They felt threatened. Do you see? And the law allows for the reaction of the kids, whether you like it or not, whether they're being punky or not. The law is on the side of those kids.
But also, to be fair, they were only allowed to do so much. Okay, get the fuck out of here.
Did they stab him?
Hey, look, that should have been the end of it. They should have floated. If he didn't leave, they should have left themselves. You are reasonable enough to get yourself out of a situation. They didn't. They kept antagonizing. They could have floated away. They could have said, "Hey, this old man's a fucking pervert. Let's float away. Let's get away from him. He's not listening to us." It's not his responsibility totally to do what you're asking. I mean, he had an agenda.
Yeah.
The jury got it wrong. He should have been guilty of more serious charges.
I just want to say this with you, 12 gauge. Once the man was finally up and the person that was talking to him that touched his back with no aggression whatsoever, and he lashed out and stabbed that person. Okay. What? Am I wrong?
No, I was laughing at what Clue said. Look at what she said.
Whose wedding?
Who the hell knows?
He's talking about you and me.
I don't roll that way. I'm sorry.
Well, you got a
Go ahead and
really
say-
big ass. Okay.
Go ahead and say what you were saying.
What I'm saying is, if the incident would have stopped, even though he stabbed someone that did apparently have nothing to do with any wrongdoing, if that incident would have ended there, then that would have been, the problem would have been solved. This gentleman probably wouldn't be facing all this jail time. But leading up to the stabbing, the law is on the side of the kids, right? Regardless of your view, opinion, or feelings on how they behaved. They did not in any way, shape, or form brandish a weapon or even propose or give the idea that they had a weapon. No threats were shouted, "We'll shoot you, we'll kill." None of that was done by those children. They were antagonizing little bastards, but this man initiated contact with them, and the law stands behind what the children did. His response to that was excessive in stabbing and killing one person. Stabbing 5, killing 1, the man belongs in jail.
So I would say that this law that we read put a lot more insight on the understanding of what's going on based on the time that he got, whether he was guilty, whether he was not. You know, they did vote for lesser charges. I mean, I don't think they felt confident enough to get all the convictions that they were trying to get. First degree murder, I think they were trying to get, but they ended up with first degree negligent homicide or something like that, reckless homicide. So, I mean, my point, I'm being antagonistic tonight on for a reason, you know, because a lot of times this is what you see in these chat rooms. You see people just keep poking the bear. Just keep poking the bear, you know?
Put up Golf Specter's comments. Come on. Sarge needs an honorary law degree. Thank you there, Golf Inspector.
You would think that you spent a lot of time in the law library somewhere.
It's all common sense. There's nothing written in the law that any average man can't understand. I don't care if your IQ is 85 or 190. Doesn't matter. It's all understandable. You just got to read it. If you need to look up the words to understand them, you'll figure it out. It's easy.
Well, of course.
Right? We're all good. We're all capable people. But again, I don't think we have any difference in opinion. And I agree you put the opposite argument up. And I see the chat room also did that as well. It's those arguments, though, that really have no bearing on the outcome of the case or this thing that we watched. You guys were all distracted by how the kids overreacted, and I wasn't. I wasn't at all, affected by that. I saw what they did, and then when the law is posted, you could see what they did was within the law. Fair?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would say, I mean, I would be inclined to say that this is going to be an appealed case, you know,
all cases, yeah.
Especially with the time that he's looking at, even if it's 60 years, I would be inclined to say he's going to appeal this. Will we get a different trial, a different outcome?
A golf inspector asked you to post her next comment.
That one?
Yeah, I think that's what she wanted you to post.
Yeah, I posted that one.
I'm just
I
being
gave you
smart. I'm just being a
I
smart.
gave you props. I gave you props. You know, we had discussed this a little while ago, where I told you that I wanted to be the antagonistic person because we wanted to kind of show the chat based on what Sergeant Friday had been trying to present over there on his channel. It's how easily people are persuaded for a one-dimensional outcome and how they're going to sway toward what the creator wants them to see. And I was trying to point that it was the kid's fault at first, and then we went to the law, and then, you know, I read it and the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh shit, I just went with what Sergeant Friday was talking about. I realized it even before you said it, you know, but at the, you know, when we're finished with what we're trying to discuss in these platforms, we can shake hands and say, hey, that was a good conversation. That was some good information that we learned, because I learned some things about Wisconsin law today that if I'm ever in Wisconsin, I know not to take it like I do down here in Texas. I mean, down here we aim to kill, you know, as long as you don't shoot them in the back, everything else is pretty much, you know, you drag them into your house after you shoot them, obviously, and no, not really.
No, but there's some limits to the Texas law. I mean, the Texas law is very broad and given the individual to protect himself. I completely understand that, but there's also a limit when you draw the line. And
well, I mean, you don't have the ability to unload your weapon on somebody and then claim self-defense when the first shot was a headshot. Right?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Once he stabbed that first kid, the acts that then compiled from that, what he went on to do after, I would tell you that my opinion is the jury is that heavily weighed on the jury's ability to convict him. He had the right to respond to defend himself. There's no doubt about it, and I am not questioning that. Those children also had a right to defend themselves as the way he approached them. So, or kids or young adults, whatever you want to call them. And they both handled it very poorly. Both groups' responses were wrong, but not to the level where somebody should have been killed.
But that's the unfortunate in today's world is people people are quick to take it too far, really based on emotional attachment to whatever their narrative is, Like, you slap somebody in the mall, and I have a belief system that says, hey man, don't put their hands on women. I go up to you and say, hey man, what are you doing?
Right.
We get into a verbal altercation, you shove me, I'll pull out a gun and shoot you. I may feel justified. You're not going to change my mind, even if you give me life, that I wasn't justified for killing you because you shoved me.
Right.
And that when it's all said and done, that's where we're at with a lot of these cases is, many people want to present information that's not known or evidence that's not seen, and they want to say that this is what it was, and it's not necessarily always true. You got to take your emotions out of it, and you got to put the law in the place of your emotions, because the law was written for a reason. It wasn't written so that people could circumstance, and use it when only it benefits their cause. It's for everybody.
When people bow down to people believe that they have every right in the world to defend themselves, even up into murder or causing the death of another. And there is value to that statement, but it doesn't apply in every situation. And even though people may think the law in Wisconsin, that's repressive, that's not fair. It really kind of is fair. If you want to read it and read it for what they're trying to say, you have a right to defend yourself, but there's also a context under which defending yourself and the results in the death of another, it has to be looked at. What did that person do that gave you the understanding or the idea that your life was in enough danger that striking out with the ability to kill was justified? That's basically what that law is trying to set up. When do you run? When do you stab? When do you kill? You stabbed 5 people over what? A missing cell phone? Over a misunderstanding? You grabbed into the tube thinking you saw the cell phone, and it escalated. Now, that's what the law is there. These emotional escalations don't give you a free pass to defend yourself. Yes, those kids antagonized them. Yes, they pushed them and slapped them. Yes. But when was it his responsibility to retreat or to get out of there or not stab anybody, resulting in the death? Did he need to stab people? Do you think he was threatened when he was up there standing? Did it look like he was in a situation surrounded for imminent harm, and therefore the knife is justified? I don't see that. Even once he's up out of the water, when he pulled his knife, there was no threat immediately around him, and the gentleman that approached him wasn't posing a threat. So the person that he first stabbed was doing nothing to antagonize or give this gentleman the idea his life was in danger. That person's actions were not threatening, and yet he stabbed him.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I just hope it doesn't happen again, because it's floating, it's river floating season for a lot of places, and it really is. I mean, this is the time of year where people start to hit the rivers and float the rivers, drink, and their testosterone going through the roof, and any perception of you did something wrong or you're a pervert or you're this and that and the other. I mean, it's just a volatile situation. I don't know why they allow drinking on the river to begin with, I mean, but people are going to do it regardless. If you don't allow it, they're still going to show up drunk or high or whatever. So you can't really outlaw everything. You have enough rules out here.
I think that the fact that you played this and that you let me share on how I try to view things, okay? I think that was an awesome exercise even for me to do, because That's what is missed in true crime. And this is missed across all kinds of areas where we emotionally see something and we know the result ended up in the death of an innocent young kid. And let me just say, all of those people were innocent. Even the guy, that dude is innocent. These people aren't criminals committing crimes, right? They're regular people out there recreating. And this horrific tragedy happens. And the law must hold people to account. You can't take things too far. And that's what happened here.
Even in these, I mean, I think that's what you've been trying to say in your channel as far as taking things too far, as far as stalking innocent people that haven't been proven otherwise. You know, you're stalking where they're staying at a RV park, or you're stalking their house, or you're taking one side versus the other just based on what your understanding is, based on your emotional attachment to, you don't like this guy because he perceives, he presents himself to be confrontational. So therefore your defense goes up and instantly you say, well, he's guilty. Because if he wasn't guilty, he wouldn't be defensive. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't say this. He wouldn't be running. They wouldn't be selling their house. They wouldn't be doing all this and that, even though they're not selling their house and, all that stuff. But, people make up their mind based on unfortunates.
Well, can I just say that we're supposed to be a civilized society, and we stroke ourselves on that concept, on all of this technology, and we think that all of that, and that's what we think we are. What we've forgotten is this. The reason this country was born was to get away from this witch hunt bullshit.
Yeah.
The reason this country has laws, and the reason that it has a constitution limiting the government's actions against you, okay, are twofold. The reason you're innocent, and this is very important, the reason you're innocent to proven guilty is to stop the mob. We don't do mobs in America. We're not supposed to be fucking mobs. These people are innocent until proven otherwise beyond a reasonable doubt. The standard of guilt in this country is the highest anywhere in the world, and it's that way for a reason. But the purpose of the law is to stop mobs. There was no constitution during the Salem witch hunt. Huh. And what have the YouTubers become? These viewers, mobs. And what are they basing their mobbery on? Bullshit and emotions and what they think is right or wrong, not the law. And what we just did here tonight is an invaluable lesson in understanding that if you are a civilized society, and it is the United States that you reside in, you are innocent until proven otherwise by a reasonable doubt. And that's how you're supposed to view these crimes. There's no other way to do it. And Americans have been uneducated from doing that. We've been taught to do things based on our feelings, our emotions, our beliefs, and we turn into this mob. That is wrong. We are wrong for doing that.
I agree with you. I agree.
Look at that.
We are all guilty of it.
Put up Clue's little because, man, I do love this concept. I love this country. I'm a person that loves knowledge, and the knowledge that those founders bestowed upon us, all the answers to all our problems are right there. And we don't understand that. We don't, as a nation of people, we don't live by those standards in the Constitution, yet we expect our politicians to adhere to them when we ourselves don't even do it. Right? That's why I've made the channel. That's why I'm glad you bring me on here. We, the people, can change. Okay? And look, at situations like this guy are always going to happen. That was a misunderstanding that just, oh my God, did that go way too far? Right? Oh, say, can you see? Al Sarge. And Big D.
we've lost our way.
We have, and it's so easy to get back. I think I'm going to play that as my intro.
Play ball.
I think I'm going to play that as my intro on my channel, rather
yeah?
than give a speech. Yeah.
Hey, it needs to be played more often. You know, we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning in school, and they don't even do that anymore.
No, we need to get back to that. But and more importantly, we need to secure our actions in accordance with the Constitution. We have to demand that those are the rules we live by, and everybody that's in this country. I don't care if you're black or you're white, or you're tall or you're short, if you're gay, if you're straight, if you decide to cut parts off and be something else, all of you have the same freedoms. You're in this together, and you are completely within your ability to not like what others do. But it's another thing to not like what others do and then attack them like they do in true crime. And they go after the Proudfoots and they want to surround them and rally them. That's absolutely not what America is about. That was not what the law was for. That's not how our prosecutors aren't supposed to be doing with Brian Koberg or what they're doing with Brian Koberg. We as a group need to demand this stuff change.
Because, you know, the unfortunate, it's not a big deal until it happened to you. It's like people don't really care about the missing until one of their own goes missing. Right. And then all of a sudden they want all the attention, just like other people got it. And most of the time they don't get it but they were the first ones that were accusing innocent people. And then when they start getting accused, they're going to have an emotional attachment to it. And it's just going to feed the monster. You know what I mean? So at the end of everything, that you really don't respond to something until it hits your own backyard. You know, your kid gets murdered, your kid gets abducted, your kid runs away and never comes home. You know, you get assaulted, anything happened to you, and then all of a sudden it's real. Then it's real for you.
You know, I think there'll come a day where.
Go ahead.
I hope there comes a day where something like the Idaho 4, there is a big argument to be made that drug cartels are surrounded our campuses. And not that it has anything to do with the Idaho 4 case, but all college campuses should have a spotlight for this drug cartel interaction that takes place. That's oftentimes done through fraternities' connections to drug cartels. That's often connected to the sex trade. Our college campuses are under threat. That's a legitimate true crime thing to research and present to the public. And that Idaho 4 brought that to light, even though the circumstances it came to light was it must have been drug cartel hit. I realized that maybe the circumstances it came to light was inaccurate. However, the fact of the matter is drugs and drug cartels connected to our college campuses is a real threat to America. It's real.
Well, they touched on it, and then they started getting pushback, and they stopped talking about it.
But
they were talking about it in the beginning.
But they were talking about it. They were talking about it in the context that that's what killed these kids. And what I'm trying to point out is, even if it was brought up under the wrong context, we should never have let go of that topic because it is a real crime. Yeah. It had, let's agree, it had nothing to do with the Idaho 4 massacre. But are drug cartels present? Don't we know about Emma Bailey? Don't we know about Demetrius? Don't we know about a kid that died from an overdose? Don't we know that so many overdoses happen on our campuses around the country? There's thousands of them a year. That's a worthy true crime topic. And it gets lost because we're the mob. We are the witch hunters. That's what we've allowed ourselves to be turned into by people like JLR and others.
See, I think the true crime community need to change its name, because when I think of true crime, I think of all those shows that actually present the evidence, present the information, let you kind of go with the case. Not one of those shows is just on there wanting you to back their narrative. You know what I mean? They're not on there talking for an hour, wanting you to back their narrative without evidence. Would you watch CSI? Would you watch Forensic Files? Would you watch 48, another 48, or those kind of shows? Would you watch all those shows if that's what they were about? They didn't give you any insight whatsoever to the crime. They just told you the most basic forms of it, and then they spoke on it the whole time,
No,
not giving you any information whatsoever.
well, I don't. On that note, I'm going to say that true crime does no different than those particular things, in that enough information is given, and then they go off into the drama. Right, the circus comes to town, and you go from a missing boy to a horrific attack on the parents, never giving them the decency of innocent till proven guilty. And sadly, the right thing to do is they all need to be treated innocent until proven guilty. Their interactions with the public should not be a mob with picket signs. Right? These parents lost a child.
Being convicted of a bad check that you wrote in the 70s, does that make you a murderer?
No.
Then how do people put 2 and 2 together to get 4 on that?
Because
how did they make you a criminal based on you passing a bad check or you having a CPS case and it got resolved? So all of a sudden you must be an unfit parent. You must be the one that murdered the kid, or you must know something about the kid because you have a history. Well, who in the hell in this country does not have a history? Who in this country does not have a history?
Well, there are those that don't have a history, but there's not enough of them to fill all the positions. So, we're in this together.
You have a history, and there's YouTubers on here that have history that they've spoken on, but they're the ones who are being looked at as the intellectual light to follow in this darkness.
Yeah, remember when I said earlier, I don't want any credit for changing what I've changed in my life? No credit. I'm due no credit whatsoever. That it's the person that lived their life with whatever was put in front of them and made right decisions. That's the person that needs to be honored.
Well,
Okay?
of course.
Even if what was put in front of them was a good, sound family that earned a good middle class income and never got in any trouble in school and got straight A's, that's the person you should honor and respect. That's what we all want for each other. I don't want orphans. I don't want one parent. I want people to experience what I never had a shot at. Right? And we need to respect those people. They get none. They get none. They never get talked about. All we're talking about is, something befalls somebody and immediately we look into their background and we want to just start destroying that person for their background. What's the point of changing if your background's always going to be beaten over you? You're going to be beaten into the dust because of your background. You never, people say, like they act like, oh, congratulations, I'm glad you changed your life. But I'll tell you something, the same people that are telling me that, if I was accused of a bad crime, my background would be the first thing they'd use to say, yep, he did it.
Yep.
We've become a bunch of brainwashed, hypocritical non-thinkers. And we need to snap out.
You'd be the informant.
Well, I'm just saying it's a tragedy. That's what the news media does. That's what all of these streamers and these social media people do. And then they run around screaming, I don't watch the media. No, you act just like it, though. You'd never fool me based on the topics and the way you address these crimes, just based on how you deal with them. I would swear to God, you must be watching the media 24/7 because you act just like them. You are Nancy Grace.
Yes, sir. Well, we're almost at 2 hours. I thank all of you that stayed in the chat that listened to our back and forth commentary on the Apple River stabbing and also the Kansas mom update. There are people in custody at this time. You can go do research or just plug in on anybody's panel right now on YouTube. They're talking about it nonstop. Even though I don't think either one of the women have been found. But I thank you so much for coming and spending a little bit of time with Sarge and I. Definitely enjoy it. So you guys have a wonderful weekend.
You got 8 likes and 9 watching. You rarely see a stream get as many likes as it's got viewers. So congratulations. No, I mean that. It's not a number.
Look what Clue said.
What?
I'm here. I love watching foreplay.
She-
God.
Her ass hurts. Don't ever forget that.
Thank you, Golf Inspector. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
Brandy, Sabrina, Kim,
Hey, right.
Jeff.
Can I? What if I were to post a Discord link in here? Would it show up on your stream, or do you got to post it?
I think you could share it.
I'm going to see if I can, because I'd like to see Golf Inspector can have it, and anyone else in the chat room, the Discord link. And then if you connect to mine, I'm going to give you mine. But then I'll have it. You know, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't just share clues, but I mean, if allowed, I would absolutely.
Hey, Golf, you want to put your email address in the chat? That way I can give it to Sarge and he can send you the link to the Discord. I hope you get feeling better, Clue.
That comment has failed to not post from group to 12 Gauge Phillips, so I can't post a link here. You can, but I can't.
Okay,
That's
okay.
I'll email it to you. And
You said crap, Discord. I don't think she likes Discord.
well, maybe okay. All right. Well, I'm going to send
Maybe
you the
you
link.
could send her a StreamYard link
Hey.
and y'all can do what we do.
Yeah. Well, I sent you the Discord link in Gmail. If you don't have to post it now, obviously.
Okay, she's gonna text you the email. All right, you guys, you know what time it is. It's time for the maestro to cue the music. We're out of here.
Good night.